Good afternoon. Today we are talking with Mack Wren of Denver, Colorado. And Randy just happened to stop by this afternoon to tell me about the opera. What opera did you see, Randy?
Madame Butterfly, Puccini's Madame Butterfly.
Oh, Puccini's opera. And how was it?
Well, it was up in Central City, and I was with my friend Kate Sidney, and my friend Bunny Patrick gave me 2 tickets, and Kate and I had been planning to go to Madame Butterfly anyway. And it was a powerful production, and it starts with somebody committing harikari in Japan.
Is that suicide?
Yes. And he's a character that comes back at the end of the opera to rejoin Butterfly. Butterfly is a beautiful girl who is a geisha, and she comes from an honorable family, but she's no longer with her honorable family because she's just 15 years old, and they've abandoned her. But she's happy with all the other geishas, and she has a whole lot of friends. And she entertains all the time, and she meets this one man by the name of Pinkerton. And B.F. Pinkerton becomes her husband. They get married. And when they get married, the entire family of B.F. Pinkerton comes to the wedding. And her entire family and all of her ancestors come to the wedding. And before this, she's always been Buddhist, and she's been a very devout Buddhist. And since she's married B.F. Pinkerton, who's in the United States Navy, she embraces his God because it's a Christian wedding. And so she becomes very involved, and she thinks it's very easy to become Christian after being Buddhist because she sees the Christian religion through no husband's eyes. And then there's a tremendous scene where they make a lot of love. And it's not a pornographic scene, it's just really a lot of man-wife kind of thing, and sort of getting to know each other. And then the second half of the opera opens up. Her best friend is Suzuki. And Suzuki's still with her and taking care of her, but now she has a 3-year-old son. And she takes care of the son, and she keeps waiting for B.F. Pinkerton to come back. She's been waiting and waiting and waiting, because he had to leave right away after they made love. And the American consul comes to visit Butterfly. And anyway, he's gotten a letter from B.F. Pinkerton that he's going to share with Butterfly. And she's really excited to hear it, because she hasn't had any word from this G.I. Joe, this American sailor, since the night that they made love after the wedding. And she's really excited to, have his son and all that. And so the American consul starts to read her the letter, and she's all ears. She's very attentive, until she realizes that the tone of the letter is the fact that he's never going to come back. And he's asked the American consul to come and tell her that he's, moved on with his life, that he's gotten married, had a real marriage to an American woman back in the mainland, or the United States of America. Well, she is distraught. And so anyway, but then the American consul, he has to let B.F. Pinkerton know that he has a 3-year-old son. So B.F. Pinkerton and his new wife, they come to Japan so that he can collect his son. And the woman is very austere and Victorian and American, but she's also very sensitive, and she's another woman. And she knows how this woman is going to feel. And she wants this woman to know that she's going to be like a mother to her 3-year-old son. And she's going to take the 3-year-old son with her. And so she won't give the son away unless the father comes and collects it. So B.F. Pinkerton has to face Butterfly. And this is very difficult for him to do because he's a rat. He's really not been true blue to this woman at all. And he made her believe the night of their marriage that they had, that was quite clear to everybody in the opera house that they got married. But it was just a big fantasy. He didn't take her literally seriously for a moment. And she's been in love with this man for 3 years, raising his son. For 4 years, because the kid's 3 years old. And now he expects to take the son from her with this new wife. So she makes him come to see her. And when they group to get together to come, because she's had the scene with the mother, who says, okay, so she brings the son, and the whole opera long, the American flag has been playing a big part in this particular production of Madame Butterfly. And she's been very whimsical with the American flag, but it kind of works. She dresses in it, and she uses it like to cover a couch and all kinds of things. Well, now she uses the American flag to commit Harry-Carry herself in. And that character from the beginning of the opera that had committed Harry-Carry is there, sort of a ghostly figure. And but she wraps her son up in the American flag with her, and she kills herself and commits Harry-Carry. And here, right after she commits Harry-Carry, the father of the boy comes to collect the boy, and he pushes the American flag back, and the little boy comes out from his mother's arms. His mother's dead now, and there's blood everywhere. And she falls back, and she's splayed across the stage dead. And that's the end of Madame Butterfly.
And the child?
He goes back to the United States with his father and the stepmother.
Sad story. That's what you call tragedy.
Big time.
Big time tragedy.
And I couldn't help but think of my brother Jay's wife, Mary, who just recently hung herself dead in Littleton at 609 Phillips Drive South. J. Robin Wren, who works for Grin Blando in downtown Denver at the Columbine Plaza. Their son had drunk himself dead less than 2 years ago in Lawrence, Kansas, where he's a freshman. He'd been a big star football player at Arapahoe High School. And his sister, Victoria Jane Wren, missed her brother so much. He was a junior at Arapahoe High School. She hung herself dead the end of last year, and then the mother just hung herself dead. And all three of those gigantic funerals that were off the charts were out at Cherry Hills Community Church, where I guess they've been taught that Christian God, like the one in Madame Butterfly. That the G.I. Joe, the B.F. Pinkerton brings to Japan for his wife so he can have a little one-night stand with this woman that he totally snows.
Well, Randy, thank you so much for the update on Madame Butterfly. I've heard so much about it, and I've never had the privilege of seeing the opera. And one of these days, I hope to go to the opera with one of my opera-going friends. And thank you again, and you're welcome to Denver, Colorado.